That's right, kids. 3D Politics now streaming live on Facebook every Monday night from 7 p.m. to 8 at least. We've got an amazing setup tonight. We've got Willie J. Montague from Florida, District 10, and he is a man on fire for God. He's going to talk to us about Governor DeSantis's decision to open up Florida, as well as later on this evening, we'll have Lori Gracie talking to us about the Drive for 45 rolling rally, and they've got another one coming up next week. Let's first bring in, I don't see David Oldham yet. Let's go ahead and bring in Dr. Willie J. Montague. Make sure his audio is working. Connecting to audio. Let me hear you. There he is. I can at least hear you. I hope you can hear me. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm not able to hear you.
Oh, he's not getting me yet. Make sure you've got your let's see. I'm rolling. Let me also, while you're working to get the audio rolling, let me bring in my cohort, David Oldham, constitutionalgrounds.com. There he is, David Oldham. We'll make sure we can hear him. Wow, what a background. Your aureola borealis is showing. There it is. I got a little dental work. Let's check in with the doctor here. All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Very good. Yes. Dr. Willie J. Montague, meet David Oldham.
Hi there.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. It's good to see you.
We always struggle a little bit with the, I'm sorry, I stomped on that because of what I'm explaining. There's a little bit of a time delay sometimes, so we'll kind of talk and then wait to see what each other just said. Like I did during the setup, this is Willie J. Montague, your District 10. You ran in Florida here just recently. Tell us about that, and then we'll talk more about Florida. Tell us about your run and who you ran against.
Well, it was two people. Actually, I ran against in the primary Vina Francois, and then again, the general would have been Val Demings. I think the race went pretty well considering the facts that was involved with the race, but I believe we really put a hard fight out there for the community, for the constituents, and just for America in general. And the next day, August 19th, I filed again for 2022, so I'm ready to go.
That's excellent. You know, one of the things that lit me up was the whole Val Demings. She kind of triggered me during the impeachment things. She wanted documents. That's what she wanted, was documents. And so anyway, it's I'm always proud to see people get out there and exercise the election system that we have. It's unlike anything in the world where people like me can run for mayor, and it's truly an opportunity, rags to riches. Oldham, did you follow any of the Florida stuff of the District 10 race last year, or just in the last few months?
Actually, just what David D'Ambroso was sharing with us.
Right.
But beyond that, no, I really didn't. There's just too many races to follow.
Right. And, you know, that's one of the things I think I noticed about that impeachment thing. And I started saying that all seats matter. You know, every seat is important, even if you are in Florida and I'm in Oklahoma. If you and I agree, all constitutional patriots have got to get together and share information and cheer each other on. I know, is it Sabatini out in Florida? He says he'll defend you in a mask courtroom thing for pro bono. And somebody jumped on me and says, well, he's in Florida. I said, I don't care. I was promoting anybody who will fight against this mask mandate thing, especially if he's going to protect you in court pro bono. But so the District 10 thing is over for Willie J. Montague. And tell us now, let me just, for people who don't know you, I have a little bio here. Born and raised in Morehead City, North Carolina, founder, president of House of Timothy Incorporated, and author of The Fruits of Leadership, overseer of the New Creation Assembly of Churches, and lead pastor of Gravity Church. Everything is based in Orlando, Florida. Motivational speaker, chancellor of Victory School of Ministry, president of Insignia Christian Academy and a private school for 9th to 12th grade boys. You also have international relations with pastors in Pakistan. And I want to hear about that orphanage, if that's still going on in Pakistan, you're planning to open. You have the outreach, something about at-risk youth. Lake, is it Eola Park? Is that true? Is that not true? Did I say that correctly? Is what I mean. And that's in downtown Orlando twice a year. An adopted son, Jerome Washington Montague, I think he had a birthday here recently. Well, within the year, I know that. So that is one heck of a resume. Wow. What is the House of Timothy and what does it do?
Well, the House of Timothy is a non-for-profit organization. What we do is we work with young adult boys, well, youth and young adult boys, ages 7 to 25. It really was launched off back in 2012, actually 2010, when I lived in Oklahoma for Bible college, and I saw the need for fatherless boys to have someone that could be a role model, a father figure to them, a mentor. When I speak of a mentor, I don't speak from the perspective of where you are like visiting and you take them to the sports events. What I speak of it from a perspective of someone that really needs that one-on-one family oriented situation. So it's really an organization that really helps to build the total man, from spirit, soul, body, from washing clothes, tying a tie, shaking hands, academics, to whatever they want to do in their life that it will help them to succeed and to be flourishers. And I like to say assets versus liabilities. So that's really the organization in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Mm. You guys froze up. Is that me?
Okay.
Tough Zoom thing. Hold on. Okay.
Was that you that froze up, or is that me?
Unstable. I think it might have been me. Something froze up. Now, can I call you Willie? Is that okay?
Perfect.
Okay, Willie, you said, and it froze up right after you said my favorite line. What you said was turning people in from liabilities into assets, and that's where it froze up. Take it from there again.
Well, yeah, that's basically our organization in a nutshell. We really want to help to develop and coach young men. And, our ages used to be from 18 to 25. I lowered it to 13. Then I lowered it to 7 because you'd be so surprised how many youth, young boys and children really need to have that coaching and development. If we can start at young ages to really bring them up to the place where they can know who they are as men and really restore the nuclear family, which we're seeing is being destroyed left and right, from media sources, Hollywood, anything that can destroy the nuclear family. And I believe that it starts with the men, and that's why my heart is really towards helping to develop and to mentor and to spearhead what they want to do in their lives so they can be successful.
Yeah, by the time they're 6 or 7, they're pretty solidly baked. Oldham, what do you think?
Oh, I love the idea. I think we need more of these kinds of things and get government out of the way. Because tell us, because Willie, you've been out here in Oklahoma, you're in Florida, and Florida is heavily regulated like it's not in a lot of ways here in Oklahoma. How are you able to perform all that you do out there? Does government get in the way? Is that what you spend a lot of your time dancing around and working around, or what do you see as the pitfalls with what you do?
I would say yes. Actually, we have a lot of red tape when it comes to community development. Projects I want to do, such as Lake Eola, it used to be kind of more free. Now they limit me to twice a year. The lady even mentioned that people normally don't even come out there and do reoccurring events. So basically, I believe that the red tape was just really to slow the process down of us doing things that really can help the community. Because I'm big about people understanding that when we say help the community, it doesn't mean to become a crutch. It means that they have to have some type of example to go by so they can be able to flourish on their own. And when the government steps in, and as they do with me, and I'm sure other people, it stops us from being able to be successful in helping these young men. I can barely get any help from local municipalities when it's time for us to use some of the facilities that is owned by the city. I know we fought tooth and nail with some of the Parks and Recs to be able to even have a meeting space for 20 boys because they had so many regulations, and it's sad, but that's what we have to fight against, because they really are not. And when I lived in Oklahoma, it was a lot easier because we had a stronger support, and we do have people that support us in Florida, but the red tape from the government side is really what hinders us from being more successful. They cry for help. You know, we have a lot of Title I schools that are in Florida, and you know, our program can really help to change these schools around and the students. But with the red tape, it's, you know, we're fighting the government before we even can get to the students.
Right. Well, I got to follow up on that one. Also, Willie, when you're going in there and fighting the government, how long have you been doing this project, or and has the red tape gotten worse over the last 5 years?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, when I started when I started my first organization in church, I was 16 years old. I'm 32 now. So for 16 years, I have seen it has gotten worse, but because of my zeal and desire to really see things take place, that's why I keep fighting. But it's hard. It's real difficult because, again, the government really, I believe that they get great pleasure in people having to go to them for the solutions versus a program that can stop it. Because, you know, we know about the prison system. We know that there's money that comes down. So, you know, if we're stopping people from going to prison, you know, they're not going to get paid. If we're stopping people from, you know, selling drugs, you know, they're not going to have a reason to make a Narcan, because, you know, so I believe that is a cycle, is a system that's set up. And I believe that, you know, just as it was with me running for Congress, it was a fight against the establishment. It was a fight against a liberal agenda. And it's going to definitely be a fight when we're dealing with these, especially these young men. And I want to make that very clear, especially within the Black communities. We see a lot of fatherless homes. And because of that, people don't realize that stems to the place where they end up on drugs. A lot of actually where it deals with human trafficking, which I have an organization that I've started and launched off under the umbrella House of Timothy. A lot of those young men and girls, which Florida is number 3 in the country for human trafficking, a lot of them come out of the foster care, come out of the adoption system. And when you have programs such as mine that are out there really trying to help, and the government fights against it, is basically like they're saying opening the borders, which we know is already still there. But it's like saying opening the borders, let them come in and have their free will. But when you have programs that can help teach these young men how not to be on the streets, how not to be homeless, how to get a job and stay on a job, I think that we need to really have such as a Representative Anthony Sabatini, who really fights for our freedom.
Yeah, you know, one thing that you say also, a lot of times trying again is a thing that really loses. I've raised 5 kids, and what happens is you teach them how to do something, and they do it, and it doesn't work out right the first time, and so they're like, well, okay, see, it doesn't work. And so it's not only saying, I'm just adding to your effort here, teaching that modeling that you do for those young boys is not only to teach them how, but to show them the reasons why it's worthy and rational and justified to do these good actions. So that's some amazing work that you're doing out there. That's just amazing. So there was some press last May. You did the Free Stuff Community Closet with the House of Timothy. How did that go? Did you have some good response, and did people get taken care of out there?
Yes, that's still going. My pledge from the beginning of the campaign and until now is to keep these projects and initiatives going. And so the community closet for District 10 is still going. We had a lot of donations. I mean, it was amazing of the response of people that came together to collaborate with what we were doing, as well as us continuing with that. We're doing a belt drive now, where our belts and ties, where we want to get 1,000 belts and ties to get to the middle and high school, college age students to be able to learn how to put on a belt, tie. So it went really well, and it's still continuing, and that's the most important part. So many people are in need, especially young mothers, young men, young women that need to have clothes in those areas. And sometimes that's what actually stops them from being able to even just get a job, because they don't have a decent pair of pants or, a blouse or something for them to be able to go and do an interview.
Right.
So let me just reset for those of you who are watching or just joining. I've got Dr. Willie J. Montague from District 10 out there in Florida talking about the Timothy House, the House of Timothy, as well as his outreach programs, which are quite significant. I've got David Oldham, once again, constitutionalgrounds.com, and you can go there for all your constitutional interest, as well as him putting together a site where all 50 states can reach the information from the Constitution easily. Oldham, what kind of input do you have before we move on to the Governor DeSantis decision?
Yeah, the question that I have is how is everyone working together? Okay, so you lost in the run up in the primaries, but has your faction joined together with everyone to beat the Democrat in your area? In other words, are the Republicans united, and can they win that seat?
Uh,
How about the first one first?
Well, really, are they united? Can you know?
The Republicans
been able to bridge gaps.
The Republicans are united, and I want to make sure I say this correctly. I've had several people who've approached me, and I will say this: I want Republicans to win. I want conservative Republicans to win. And I will not be voting for a Democrat. What I did mention, and I have no problem saying this on Facebook Live, is that I was not personally going to make any endorsement or support towards my primary opponent because of the different things that I know that she stands on or really don't stand for at all.
Gotcha.
But I'm not in support of voting for a Democrat, but I will not make any special effort to go out and support her. And some people feel a certain way when I say that, but I'm real strong-headed when I believe, and I really believe that people need to stand on constitutional values and principles, and that they really need to fight for who they're representing and who they're saying they're going out for. And that goes against my personal beliefs and standards. So therefore, I have made that statement the day that I lost, that I was not going to make any special effort to go out of my way to endorse or to go out and sign, wave, or door knock.
Gotcha.
Say that may the best person win, which we want the Republicans to win. But as I said, it is a plus 11 district. It is heavily populated with the Democrats. And one thing about it is you have to be actively involved in the area for people to know you, not just pop up when you decide to. That goes as well as when it deals with especially within the Black communities, which has a lot of Black communities in District 10. And if you're not actively involved, one thing I can tell you about the Black community is they know fake. So you can't just show up on the election cycle and say that you want to come, because you're no better than the Democrats pandering for votes. And so that's where I stand with that. So
yeah.
For me to stay here, but
well, I'm hopeful that your stand will force her to re-examine some of her positions, and I would just encourage you to reach out and say, look, if you'll meet some of these, some of my needs, and the Constitution, stand for the Constitution in these areas, then I could throw my support behind you. But if you're not going to stand for the Constitution, how can we support you?
Well, and the response from a dishonorable person means nothing anyway. The promise could be there and it wouldn't matter anyway. Yeah, I totally get that it's a constitutional principle over party. We're not simply just marking a color or an R. This has to do with the right people saying the right things and doing the right actions. So I want to move on because we've got somebody from Florida that can, again, I want to justify bringing Dr. Willie J. Montague in from Florida because, the government uses what they call sister cities against us all the time. And in the education system, they always tell us, well, what they're doing in Texas and what they're doing in so-and-so is what we should do in Oklahoma. But the minute I say something about, let's talk to a guy in Florida, well, he's in Florida, we have to gather together all constitutional patriots, and we've got to reach out across every technological bridge we can get to. I'm so pleased that Willie can bring us the information firsthand from how it's going on this mask mandate in Florida. And each state, of course, is its own incubation lab. And here it is from Bobby Calvin, Associated Press, September 25, 2020. Florida reopens state's economy despite ongoing pandemic. Governor Ron DeSantis lifted all restrictions on restaurants and other businesses in Florida on Friday in a move to reopen the state's economy despite the spread of coronavirus. Tallahassee, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis lifted all restrictions, banned local fines against people who refuse to wear the mask. He wants to open it up. We're not closing anything going forward, he said, while insisting that the state is prepared if infections increase. Again, as part of his reopening plan, the governor barred cities and counties from collecting fines on people who will violate social distancing rules or don't wear face masks. The governor's order virtually nullifies local ordinances put in place to limit the spread of coronavirus. I think we need to get away from trying to penalize people for not social distancing and work with people constructively. He lightens up a little bit towards the end of the piece about mayors and such can restrict up to 50% or something like that. But that's the story. I want to hear about the masks in Florida.
Well, Governor DeSantis from the beginning, I've been a strong supporter of Governor DeSantis' his moves with the state of Florida. I live in Orange County, and our mayor, we have two mayors, the city mayor for Orlando as the city, and then the county, both in which work together and have come together to spearhead a lot of this chaotic mask mandate. One, which is Jerry Demings, which is actually Val Demings' husband, is the Orange County mayor. He has restricted us in several areas. Now, this is what I would say about the mask. I tell people it's not about anti or pro mask. It's about individual responsibility. And that's what Governor DeSantis did when he made this order, and he released his executive order, basically giving the responsibility back to the constituents. Now, there could be people who are upset from any angle or whatever. You're never going to please just anybody all at one time. So I believe that when you look at the mask mandate that was special within Orange County, it was horrible. We live in a hot, a very hot state, and so when you're walking down the street or you're walking into a car into a building and you having to wear a mask, is suffocating. So when he made this, and a lot of people are saying that when it one thing he did from the beginning, he did put the power back into the hands of the local municipalities, the mayors, and so forth. Now, what he did is, I believe it was September 15th, he asked that all 67 counties send in their reports of all of the coronavirus bylaws, or the coronavirus outlines that they have created for their local places. And right after that is when he then came up with this, because there were places that was fining almost like $500 because people were not wearing masks, wasn't doing, and that's restrictive because you're in the middle of a pandemic. Some people are not working. Some people are making $500 a week. And so it's like, if I get fined because I can, and then some of them didn't have the right the clauses of whether or not You can go in, and I remember we had with David D'Ambrosa when he was down in Florida with me. We went to a cookie place, and the lady called the police on us because we were telling us, like, we're not forced to, and her employee did not have a mask, but we had the police called on us.
Right.
Part of, I believe we're making great strides in Florida because we have a governor that is a true conservative, and some people say it may have taken a little longer to do it. I believe he was trying to appease both, but I think he finally came to the place where it's like, that's enough is enough. It's time to open back up, because look at where we are. Look at where we're a tourist place. We depend on the influx of tourists. We depend on the school system. We depend on the government, in that angle, to make sure that we're able to get things accomplished in our city, because those 3 months was closed. We had building projects that was not being accomplished, which also means that there was people who were not working. So I believe that this is getting our state back up and running. He did allow for them, if they want to, the minimum 50%, but it's time to get back to work and get our especially our state, the whole country back. But Florida is a major, major state because so many people come in and out of Florida all the time from all over the other 49 states. And I believe that he made a right decision.
Yeah. Oldham,
Good.
what do you think?
Well, good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear it, because I'm headed to Florida here shortly. So I'm wanting to make sure that, that I'm not going to run into the problems that I ran into when I was up in New England back at the beginning of the year, right at after the coronavirus hit and all the shutdowns and things like that. We couldn't even get into a restaurant. And it was nearly impossible to get into a hotel. There was a hotel I tried to stay in that I've stayed at before, but they were shut down because of the coronavirus in Connecticut. And so it's nice to hear that we're not going to have as many problems in Florida now. I'm really excited about that.
Well, and also Oldham, you had more.
Well, I was just going to say, did you hear about Governor Cuomo up in New York? Just today said that he was going to close certain schools in New York City, and some hot spots. And his reasoning was that he wouldn't want to send his children there, so therefore he's not going to allow you to send yours. So if he does, that's now the new standard. If Cuomo wouldn't want to send his children there, then you can't.
That works in the restaurant business. If you won't eat it, don't serve it, but this is a little bit different than that.
Yeah, but that's you running your own business, not Cuomo running your
own business, right? And this idea of the mask is really determining, ultimately, if you take it to its furthest extent, what they're wanting to do is use medical science to run politics. But they'll be the first to admit that medical science always changes, which is why we should never use medical science to run our politics. We should always use political science to run our politics, because the human behavior never changes. And that's why you can count on political science to at least be stable. So, for instance, in this issue where those that have the special sight can see the COVID on you and the viral load building, and they'll tell you, oh my gosh, you to improve your life, you must live in the matrix bubble inside your home and never leave. It's like, well, that's no life. Ultimately, they're going to define your life enjoyment. It's not simply just a mask. It's someone else telling me to obey them so they can define my level of pleasure in life. A couple of last statements from Dr. Willie J. Montague. I've got Lori Gracie in the waiting room. We're going to talk about the rolling rally that just happened. But Dr. Willie J. Montague, tell us a little bit more before we thank you.
Well, I just want to say, thank you for the opportunity to be able to be on 3D Politics. I believe our nation is moving forward. We're praying for President and First Lady Trump as, they have returned back to the White House on today. And The shocking news of the press secretary, I absolutely love her. She's spicy, and she keeps the media straight. But I believe our country is going forward. I believe that this is the year for true American patriots that are really going to see a change. I know it's a fight. But I just want to encourage everyone, keep fighting. If you're conservative and you believe in our country, it's time to move forward. And I believe that we're going to do it together. So we have to stay strong.
That's beautiful. Dr. Willie J. Montague, I appreciate you coming on the show. It's a great pleasure to have you. A man on fire for God. I love your posts. They keep me energized and optimistic. You know, we're fighting a spiritual battle and not a flesh one. And so you're a great man. You're doing great work out there. It's an honor to have you on the show. And hopefully you'll come back and give us a Florida update so that we can learn how to free every state from the mask mandates. Very good. Dr. Willie J., appreciate you. I'm going to send you away. First, I'll get the music rolling here to send him away. Lori Gracie is coming up once again. Thank you, Dr. Willie J. Montague. We'll see you again, hopefully, within just a few weeks. Oh, the excitement. We had an exciting rally just this, she's going to tell us all about it. Lori Gracie coming up. Let me just admit her in. You guys are watching 3D Politics right here on Facebook Live. Everything. Oh, some beauty finally. There she is. Beautiful. She's connecting to audio now. And let me see if I can fade this thing out. It's got 3 notches and then it goes dead. Bam, there it goes. Very abrupt. I got to fix that. Lori Gracie connecting to audio. And we're going to learn today about the hashtag Drive for 45. They had a couple of 100 cars out there. Maybe are you live out there, Lori? Still trying to connect to audio. This Zoom thing, it never. Like I said, it's a spiritual battle. Let me see if I can fade this thing out. It's notches and then it goes dead. We can hear you.
Am I there?
I gotta fix that. There you go. Whatever you're playing in the background is going. Who is that? Is that me?
Nah, it's probably me.
Gosh, it better not be me. I'm in trouble if it's me. I'll tell you that. Blake will never let me over it.
What's up, guys?
There she is, Lori Gracie, fighting through the Zoom battle to get here. Beautiful Lori Gracie here with audio and visual. We had the Drive for 45 rolling rally. There's another one coming up, but tell us about the last one. When was it? How many cars and what was it like?
So we met over at TCC Southeast Campus, and I would say there's about 150 cars, maybe 200.
Nice.
It was a good turnout. We had folks showing up early. We were supposed to take off about 10 o'clock, and gosh, people were showing up like by 9 o'clock, 8:30, something like that. Cars were decorated. I've got some pictures to share with you here in a little bit. People were jazzed. They were really, really hyped up about it. Apparently there were 3 other rallies going on Saturday, this past Saturday. So that was the 3rd. And our next one will be on the 17th. We learned some things from this one. We'll hopefully make the next one even better. We got a challenge from my hometown back in California. They actually outdid us. So
what did they do?
We didn't show up. They had a rally that pretty much stretched the entire county on Highway 101. With Trump enthusiasts and patriots in their cars, on their motorcycles and their trucks, and people lined in the sidewalks the whole way. So it was pretty exciting out there, and we want to do the same thing here in Tulsa.
So that's a great idea. You loop them down Route 66 or something and back. That'd be an awesome, a little bit more difficult to do. But that's great. So, and 150 cars, that's typically there more than one person per car. So pretty good person turnout.
Yes, it was a great turnout. We're going to try and have a bit of a rally at the end of the next one, so we can all, build the enthusiasm, come together, hear from some speakers, and kind of get our marching orders. The Tulsa Republican Club or Party, they sponsored the majority of it. Tulsa 912 joined in and helped with this one, but
nice.
Some of the other rallies that were going on around town were just grassroots citizens saying, "Hey, let's do this for our president. We're not going to do a boat flotilla like we've seen around the lakes around the country, but let's get in our cars, let's get on our motorcycles, and let's ride for the president. Let's ride for America.
That's excellent. And it's kind of a fever now. People just kind of bursting out. It's literally, kind of effervescing. I'm not seeing a lot of, press release. You kind of hear about it once it's gotten big. And then they bring together, 100,000 boats and 4 of them have trouble. And they're like, look, they had trouble. And like 4, they find the one boat that had a problem and magnify that. Yeah. So, tell us.
Well, that Trump's campaign manager today tweeted that he was encouraging people to do these kinds of events because the president may be laid up, but he was encouraging everybody all the way down to the grassroots to be working just as diligently as he does. So that was just today, kind of in support of the Trumps while they're laid up.
Right. I would encourage my fans too, come on, Oklahoma. But I mean, from a constitutional standpoint, Oldham, when they start locking down on how many people you can have and and fines and such, I mean, this is like, it doesn't take, even the host knows that's freedom of association. I mean, please, where, is that just stomping on basic, we can't even get together stuff.
Yeah, well, and they really did that back east more so than they've done out here, although it was done out here in Tulsa for a while. Yeah. In fact, Lori was part of getting Oklahoma back open, organizing the drive around the Capitol and the rally out there that literally was the impetus, the catalyst that got the governor to move.
That started the movement.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's the same group of people that did that. We're doing this rally and plan the next one, along with plenty of others. There's plenty of us out there.
Lots of people.
Yeah.
Lots of people.
So focusing those people would be, I mean, that seems to be what we need is if there's 3 different rallies going on, there needs to be a way to coordinate the message so it has more direct impact.
Right. And that's what we're trying to work on now is find out, who's interested in helping with these, who's already been doing these type of rallies. How can we get the word out and have a good central location to start from? Plan our route well, execute well, just show our presence. And, we want to see people we saw some on the overpasses, waving at us and some signs and things on the side. We want to see more of that. We want to see people just coming out and getting ready for this. What are we, 35 days away from the election or something like that? It's not long.
Right.
So we need to build the momentum. We can't take this thing for granted. We went all 77 counties went red last time for Trump. Here in Oklahoma, we went red to every single county. And we want to make sure that we do that again, because we cannot take this election for granted. We have too much on the line. Our constitutional rights are on the line. We're seeing it. The president had his tweet storm this morning. If you don't stand with me, you may lose your First Amendment, your Second Amendment, your Fifth Amendment, all of your rights. If you don't stand for the president, if you don't stand for the government that's going to defend your rights, going to stand on the side of the Constitution, and not cave into the socialist agenda that's plaguing our country.
It's a full court press that they are on right now. They're knocking over our statues. And the reason they can do it is because all the polite people are standing back in deference to the cops and those officials that are supposed to do their job. And they're standing down. And, somebody said it well, that thin blue line is protecting the people who are knocking over the statues as much as anything else.
Well, and to add to that, just to put a capper on it, Kamala Harris has now authored a bill in the Senate. Senate 593, I think, Senate Bill 593, I believe that's the number. It is to declare you a hazard if you are not submitting to government mandates, like a mask mandate or a vaccine mandate, that you are guilty of a crime, that you are deemed to be a hazard, and that is a criminal offense. And so it's kind of like a gun possession charge or a or a drug possession charge where it's easy because you have the thing on you. So they get you for that because they have said you can't. And rather than proving actual harm, that you have done something to somebody else, which is nigh impossible because nobody's actually harming anybody, they're instead going to say, hey, we issued you the mandate, you didn't follow it, so therefore our scientists say you're a danger, and so therefore we're going to.
And this coming from the lead name on the Democrat ticket, the Harris Biden ticket.
Harris Biden.
Everybody should be terrified. They should be shaking in their boots if that's what she is proposing, because we know that if God forbid, and forgive me for wearing blue, but God forbid the blue ticket wins over the red ticket, if they win, we're not going to have a country left. We're not going to have rights left. We're not going to have the Constitution is going to be a nice little notion that we once, happened to have as a history lesson and forget the rest of it.
Well, and this is just to put the capper on what the president said. That is your Fifth Amendment, because she's bypassing due process, creating what's called a bill of attainder. We've talked about that, and which is specifically mentioned twice and in forbidden all governments in the United States. Yet there she is, issuing it. That's what you're going to get if you vote Harris Biden.
Yeah, I trust Kamala's hair, but I don't trust Kamala.
I don't trust her hair.
She's got beautiful hair. My God, her hair is just just mesmerizes you when you look at her hair. But yeah, I still don't understand why it is that Oldham, I wanted to ask you this tonight, and I think I've probably asked you this before, but sometimes drip, drip, drip. I don't know why it is so. I remember the civil rights movement, and the black youth would sit at the soda counter and demand to be waited on. Right. And they were like, you can't come in here because you don't have a mask. No, that's not what they said. But to me, it's the same thing. Why can't I go sit at the soda counter without a mask and have it be my constitutional right, just like it was the civil rights movement for their right to sit? What is the difference between being black and me not wearing a mask?
Nothing.
That was short and sweet, Lori. You got anything?
Amazing, right?
I mean, one was they're both just as foolish, a racial issue, you're the color of your skin, the amount of melanin you have, or don't have. I mean, how many times have I been unknowingly discriminated against? That's what I'm looking for. Discriminated against because I'm so white. I mean, how many times have I been called Casper or whatever?
I don't know.
It happens a lot because
that's horrible.
I'm pretty white underneath my shirt. But the point is that it's just as stupid as worrying. I mean, they used to say, "Oh, worry about the blacks. They carry disease."
That's that's what I'm saying. Because people,
it's just as bad. That's the worst thing, is that we have seen the degradation of polite society. People are not polite to each other now because, hey, you're just a sick individual that I need to be, I need to look at you as this sick, filthy mongrel, flea bitten,
Yeah, the onus on now. We've given Lori some time. I know she's got some video and some stuff that she's going to share. Did it work for you?
Yeah, I'm not even sure how to share on Facebook Live.
Well, we're going to learn. You go down to that share.
You have to be on
Zoom. Very hard. But you can just go ahead and try to share pictures from that drive rally or a video.
So click on share, click on share in Zoom, click on share, and then it'll pull up the wherever you have the pictures.
All I have is share screen, and I don't know that I want to do that. So that's it.
Yeah, hit that. See what happens.
Okay. That's what we got.
Is your other thing pulled up? Well, Zoom is a little bit different. We won't worry about it. We're already just probably scared two out of those three people out.
Probably.
This is what we do every week as we wrestle
But
through Zoom.
I do have this. So Buffy says, vote Trump. So she's wearing her colors.
If all else fails, bring up said cute
Put up
dog.
A cute dog, exactly.
At least you had a plan B. That was
right.
impressive. That was
always
impressive.
plan ahead.
Well, we will try to share some rally footage when we have another one. October 17th is the next one.
October 17th. Check out the Tulsa County GOP website. Check out the Tulsa 912 pages. And we'll get you the information. It'll probably be in the morning on the 17th. I'm thinking we'll probably try to roll out about 10 o'clock again. We're debating on whether we're going to meet at TCC one more time, or if there's a better central location that we can do that. So we'll get back to you. Plan your attire. I've got my hat back here. Plan your attire. Get your signs. Get your chalk markers for your windows. Tape banners to the hood of your car, whatever you need to do. Just make sure that everything's secure and doesn't fly off. We don't want anything flying off on the people behind you. And
don't violate FCC rules and guidelines.
There you go. Well, obey the rules of the road. Stay safe.
Yes. Now, there were a couple of little incidents.
No.
As the parade was going, the non-parade parade.
Well, yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about what some of the haters were doing.
So I'm cruising down behind some other folks on 244 heading toward downtown, and this blue mom van comes almost sideswiping me in the left lane. I thought, well, that was kind of odd. And I thought, oh, must have just been distracted. We'll just let it go. And then mom van goes up in front of my friend who's in front of me in his car, and mom van proceeds to drop down to about 50, 45, 40, keeps slowing down. So my buddy starts to go around mom van, at which point mom van starts blocking and matching move for move and continuing to try to keep traffic from flowing and everything. Well, eventually mom van got scared and took off, which was a good idea because this is not the group to mess with.
Oh, I saw them 50 cal strapped to the back of them. I saw that.
I have a sunroof for a reason.
She pops up out of there like the Tomb Raider. So, yeah, they're going to give you what they can along the way. And again, this is all about with a bully, typically a simple explanation that you can't bully me without pain on you, and then they don't want to bully you anymore. They're looking for an easy mark, typically. But it's good that you put that thing together. Now, here's as long as we've still got you here, let's, you know what a Sharknado meeting is? You know, you ever seen the Sharknado series movies?
I have not seen that or Tiger King. I guess I'm just not very cultured.
No, I don't really watch them except for Sharknado. There's a certain thing about a Sharknado meeting where it's
I'll
a brain. It's a brainstorm meeting where anything goes, and anything goes because they had Fabio play the Pope one time. So it's like, and somebody at a meeting says, "I got an idea. Fabio is the Pope," and they all went, "Great one, Jimmy."
Sounds like a pop tag.
Has he ever cut his hair?
Fabio, I think he might have pulled it back for this scene, but he was wearing a mitre. So what do you know? But here's my Sharknado idea, which means you can't say it's bad. Sharknado, that means it's all brainstorming. You can only say great idea. So we take Route 66 because we don't have a stretch of 101. And Route 66 is indigenous to us. And one of the things we love, it's iconic, she said. And so what we do is we plan a route that goes through somehow, begins somewhere, and winds up at a third location, has one place in the middle. But the plan is not to meet at a central location, but to show the growth of what you're looking for is how many cars did we start out with at point A? How many cars did we have by the time we got to point B? And when it was all said and done, when we got to the big tailgater at part C, how many cars do we have? And that shows you some. And then if you can get a couple of drone shots of cars, not going in a straight line, but filling up what we now have marked as Route 66, there's your Sharknado meeting idea. Hey, if you're just tuning in, don't forget, It is 3D Politics Live right here with Tommy McCay, your perspicuitous plunderer of conversation, your verbal Viking, kicking over all the conversational cones. David Oldham with constitutionalgrounds.com, and Lori Gracie joining us here with the Drive for 45 rolling rally information. They got another one coming up next month.
This month.
October 17th. Next one is what I was trying to say. Next one, October 17th. I'm so tied up with that music. Just freaked me out.
We may need to do one after the election next month.
A victory lap would be a really good idea.
A victory lap would be
like
great,
that.
but we may need it just to get, just to remind people that some states need to finish their counts.
Well, and you're not only right about that, but I'm saying this is like the what I was saying about the Ken Reddick thing and the Tulsa mayor. I can tell you right now, Greg Robinson will be the next mayor in 4 years unless somebody starts running against him now.
No.
He's already in the office getting all the information from GT. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying he is already in the office being trained to be mayor in 4 years. And if we wait around to remind people and who's going to run? See, but like you're saying, Oldham, we need to continue the rallies because win or lose, they are on a full court press. The fight is on. This is not going to quit. We're not done. We need
to start playing chess and stop playing checkers.
Yeah. It's time to really lay it down and make it constitutional in its reverberance.
I think that you've actually used that term tonight more than Oldham has, Tom.
Well, I told him I'm going to steal that from you. So
you're welcome to it.
I love it. I wish everybody would use it. Lori, anything else? Next one, October 17th. How do we find out about the next rally and get involved?
Tulsa County GOP, Tulsa 912 Project. Check out our Facebook pages, check out our websites, and anybody who wants to, Tulsa 912's meeting, monthly meeting is tomorrow night over at Spirit Life Church on Peoria. Sheriff Vic Regalado will be our guest speaker, so come on out.
Excellent. See, hey, if you get a chance to talk to him, see if he wants to come out on the show sometime. And we're looking for a guest that wants to talk pro 805, state question 805. We had last week Chris Steele from Oklahomans for Criminal Justice Reform.
This would be the no on 805, right?
Chris Steele was for the no. He's opposed to 805. Is that correct?
No, the other way around.
Yeah.
I'm getting it confused.
Yeah.
Oh, Oklahoma's for. He's correct. Oklahomans for criminal justice reform, and they are
the yes on 805.
They are also in favor of 805. Thank you, Oldham, for correcting me. But if Vic Regalado or anybody else wants to come out and talk in favor of it, no, against it.
Against it, yeah. I'm sure
he may know who would be against it. Maybe we can reach out to them. But I haven't. That's the weird thing is I haven't even heard of a coordinated fight against it.
Yeah, it must either be highly irregular, which is why Chris Steele is saying what he's saying.
There is a Facebook page. There's a Facebook page, a yes page and a no page, so you can go check those out.
Very good.
That's a pretty good argument.
Very good.
Well, guys, I'm gonna sign off and let you guys go. But
I appreciate
good talking to you tonight.
Very good. Thanks, Lori. See you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I confused that reading the Oklahomans for criminal justice reform, and they're also for 805. We're looking for a guest that's against 805 just to balance out the discussion. So,
I think next week, let's not do it tonight, but next week I think we're going to need to talk 814.
Okay.
The other state question on the ballot.
What is it? What's the set me up for it? What is it? That we won't get into it.
Let's leave it for next week because I can't even remember what the subject matter is at the moment. It always escapes me. It's a little more technical.
I'll look into it, see if I can figure out anything to say about it.
Right.
But anyway, once again, we had what was a great show. Willie J. Montague, District 10. Talked about House of Timothy and Governor DeSantis' decision to open Florida. Lori Gracie talked about Drive for 45 and the rolling rally. I had a little Sharknado meeting that I wanted to do, see if we can put together a Route 66. David Oldham, any parting shots before we get out of here?
I loved your idea. I think it would be great if you started at one end of Oklahoma and drove the entire Route 66 and got to the other end. Take about 6-7 hours, and you could pick up all sorts of people and
the idea is to see how big it gets by the time you finalize your trip. That
would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Very good. David Oldham, I appreciate you being here this evening to fill out the show. Constitutionalgrounds.com is where you can find him and all things constitutional. Once again, Tommy McCay, your fine host with 3D Politics Live. I'm going to take everybody out here. Let me see if we can watch this. I share this screen right here. All right, kiddies. We'll see you guys next time on 3D Politics.